seen Prince in concert, and Prince was my #1 person, but now it's Usher. Eating? So I flew to Philadelphia, then took the train to Richmond, then drove to Chesapeake, and then I took the train to Virginia at like 2 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. West Virginia? I don't like West Virginia.
This Sunday, they're gonna be gone the whole month.
It's not diverse enough for me.
I'm gonna call the regular council meeting for the city of Ashtabula to order. Today is Tuesday, September 3rd, 2024. If you at this time would please stand for a prayer and a pledge of allegiance.
Heavenly Father, we ask you to let your inspiration precede this council's actions and all present here today, and your assistance further us, so that every word and work of ours may take its beginning from you, and so begun, may through you reach its completion. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sorry. My chair was Okay, Ms. Bell, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Roskovich?
Here.
Mr. Simeone?
Here.
Mr. Guerrero?
Here.
Mrs. Foglio?
Here.
Mrs. DiGiacomo?
Here.
Mrs. Mills?
Here.
Ms. Holman?
Present.
Mr. Timonier?
Here.
Ms. Cooper?
Here.
Mrs. Augustin?
Here.
Okay, we are all present tonight. We are meeting the requirements of the Sunshine Law. There has been no request for an executive session, so we will proceed right to the approval of the minutes.
August 19th, 2024, regular council meeting was called to order at 7 o'clock p.m. by Council President Roskovich. Vice President Simeone offered the opening prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance was recited. Present, Mr. Roskovich, Mr. Simeone, Mrs. Foglio, Mr. Guerrero, Mrs. Mills, Ms. Holman, Mrs. DiGiacomo. Officers present were City Manager Timonier, City Solicitor Cooper, Mrs. Augustin, Mrs. Augustin, the Finance Director and Clerk of Council Bell.
May I have a motion to waive the reading of the minutes in their entirety?
So moved. Second.
Motion by Mrs. Foglio, second by Mrs. Mills. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We will waive the reading of the minutes by a 7-0 vote. Thank you. Our administrative reports for City Council, we are going to be reforming a committee that had existed several years ago that deals with honoring, we get citizens. We get a lot of requests from citizens that they would like something to honor somebody or remember somebody by naming something after them or so forth. We had a committee set up before, and that's how we ended up with Urban Meyer signs and Connie Schultz signs at our city limits, because at the time they had reached the pinnacle of their chosen profession and their professions. I mean, you couldn't, a national championship, a Pulitzer Prize, those kind of things. So we had a committee that did work on that. So we are going to reform that committee in light of our many requests. Are there any counselors who are interested in serving on that committee?
I am.
Mrs. Foglio? Anyone else?
I'll do it if no one else wants to.
And Mr. Guerrero, thank you, Mr. Guerrero. And then what we will do is, we'll if the counselors are start thinking of a couple community members. I think we were all supplied with the list of the former community members. I think there was an former English teacher and so forth who used to be on there. So we'll come up with a couple other names and then we'll get that committee back to work.
Mr. President, I would just ask that we keep in mind
our diverse population, because we have talent in various racial, ethnic, gender, socioeconomic capacities, and just want to make sure that we recognize broadly.
By having them serve on the committee, you mean?
Yes, as well as potential recommendations, but right now I'm talking about committee members.
Oh, I see, yeah. Okay, thank you.
Mr. President,
Yes,
I think on the last committee, because I was just a community member on the last committee, I wasn't a council member, they did have a counselor, they did have somebody from the Parks Board on that, since a lot of times it has something to do with a park. I mean,
okay.
for the last, on the last committee, so just to give you that little insight.
Yeah. So, yeah, maybe like if the counselors would look at that list that was sent to us, Ms. Bell has sent it to us a while back,
Oh, it's a while, but I was gonna say, I don't remember.
within the last couple months, maybe.
I can resend it.
Yeah, yeah, and then maybe some of those people might, but yeah, we'll get a wide range. Any counselor, even if you're not gonna serve in a committee, can certainly suggest a name for somebody who would like to be on that committee. Okay?
Wasn't the first committee to establish the guidelines?
Yes, so they already do have those guidelines, so I don't know if you're wanting the committee to take those guidelines and then like I've had some requests for some things named, so then I would take that information and then pass it to this committee to go through that, the rules and regs. Is that what you're asking, Mr. President?
Well, I think we want why don't we form the committee, and then if they want to adjust the guidelines or look at the guidelines, then they could bring those to council, and then we could look at them from there. Because I know, if I remember correctly, the guidelines at that time, I think were pretty narrow in scope as to, who would qualify. And well, they should be, because we really want it to be an honor and such, And then I do remember, like, when we named the meeting room after Mr. Pugliese, I don't know if that fit in the guidelines, but I think council made the exception because of his 60 years of almost continuous service to the city. So maybe the guidelines are something that the new committee will look at and say, we want these, we want to add this, and so on and so forth. We'll leave that to the committee to decide. Any guidelines that they do decide will be brought to the council for approval and input.
So this is going to be more than an ad hoc committee. This is going to be a permanent committee?
Well, I think it served, I think it would only meet when necessity, when the need arises, when the needs arise. Right, like right now, I know several counselors have come, I got a request to name this, to name that, and so forth. So I think once those requests are dealt with, we notify the people what the committee has decided or what they brought to council. Then if there's no more further requests, then I don't think they need to meet, until we get another request.
And then help me remember, when the guidelines were established, didn't that come through council for approval?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and
So
I did.
then if there's anything changed, that would also have to come through
Yes.
council.
I did say that the committee would meet and bring us their suggestions to council.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so that, we will have that, we will start that, get that underway. Also, the only other thing from the council president, hopefully you saw that a letter is being sent to the appellants on Bridge Street, and so that letter has been signed and will be sent, and hopefully that will conclude that chapter. And other than that, the council president doesn't have anything. We will move on to the city manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. President. First, I would like an ordinance to authorize the disposal of certain firearms which have been forfeited to the city police department for trade-in for credit against new police weapons and equipment.
Mr. President, I move on the manager's recommendation.
Second.
Ms. Foglio moves, Mr. Simeone seconds. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We will add it to our agenda by a 7-0 vote.
Next, I would like an ordinance to execute change order number 1 with USALCO, a mailing address in Baltimore, Maryland, for the purpose of providing chemical sodium aluminate for a price not to exceed $30,000 for a total contract price of $120,000. Funding for this expense will be taken from Fund 503.
I'll move on the manager's recommendation.
Mrs. Mills moves, Mr. Roskovich will second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We will add it to our agenda by a 7-0 vote.
Next, I would like an ordinance to enter into an agreement with GPD Group of Akron, Ohio, for the purpose of providing engineering design for the reconstruction of ODOT project ABT SR 84 West 48th Street, better known to all of us as Collins Boulevard, in the amount not to exceed $136,065. Funding for this expense will be taken from funds 206, 209, and 219.
Mr. President?
Yes.
I move on the manager's recommendation.
Second.
Mrs. Foglio moves, Mrs. Mills will second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We will add it to our agenda by a 7-0 vote.
Next, I would like an ordinance to award and enter into an employment agreement with Carl St. Angelo for the Water Pollution Control Assistant Superintendent position. Carl has been at Water Pollution Control for 5 years and is currently the maintenance foreman. He does possess a Class 2 wastewater certification and will be working on his Class 3.
Mr. President?
Yes.
I move on the manager's recommendation.
Second.
Mrs. Foglio moves, Mrs. DiGiacomo seconds. Any discussion?
Mr. President?
Yes.
I'd like to thank Mr. St. Angelo's. I know that work down there, they're on call 24/7, so they're basically work every day, every weekend, for holidays. I commend you for getting further education, and I think you guys have a great team. So thank you for continuing your service to the city.
Mr. President?
Yes.
It's nice to have a hometown boy get the job, so it's nice.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We will add that to our agenda by a 7-0 vote.
So along with that, I would like 2 ordinances. First, to repeal payroll ordinance number 2024-91 to replace it with a new payroll ordinance acknowledging the hiring.
Mr. President? I move on the manager's recommendation.
Second.
Ordinances, Jim?
There are 2 separate ordinances, yes, a repeal and then a replace.
All right, so could I have a motion on the repeal ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Foglio, second by Mrs. DiGiacomo. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We will add that by a 7-0 vote. Can I have a motion on the replacement ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Foglio, second by Mrs. DiGiacomo. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We will add that by a 7-0 vote.
Next, I would like an ordinance to enter into an agreement with Koski Construction here in Ashtabula, Ohio, for the purpose of providing labor and materials for the reconstruction of Ferry Drive in the amount not to exceed $541,319.85. Funding for this expense will be taken from Fund 290 and 219.
Mr. President?
Yes.
I move on the manager's recommendation.
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Foglio, second by Mrs. DiGiacomo. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We will add that by a 7-0 vote.
Next, I would like an ordinance to execute change order number 1 with Koski Construction of Ashtabula, Ohio, for the purpose of decreasing the contract price by $53,315 for a new contract total of $488,004.85.
Mr. President, I move on the manager's recommendation.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Holman, second by Mrs. Foglio. Any discussion?
Mr. President, just some explanation on this because I know there are back-to-back ordinances here. If you recall, this has been ongoing for about 4 years since we were first awarded 3 or 4 years since we were first awarded a congressional earmark from the federal government of $460,000 to do this project. Because of the time that has passed and so many things that have changed since then, obviously the contract price was a lot higher than what we had originally estimated way back when. We went through that whole proposal and we determined there was about $53,000 worth of items that we did not need to perform and still come out with a good product. So after discussing that with GPD Group and with Cossey Construction, that's what we landed on. So, you know, out of the city's pocket, we're looking at a little over $28,000 for the total project.
That's quite a bit down. So that's good. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We will add that by a 7-0 vote.
Lastly, I would like an ordinance to enter into agreement with the Ashtabula County Land Reutilization Corporation to donate real property located at 3820 Station Avenue.
Mr. President?
Yes.
I move on the manager's recommendation.
Mrs. Fogel moves, Mr. Roskovich will second. Any discussion?
Mr. President, so the land bank already currently owns a lot next to this. The intent here, the land bank was awarded a Welcome Home Ohio grant, which is going to offset the cost of construction for a new home to provide affordable houses, owner-occupied houses for people in the area, which we all know we are in desperate need of housing right now. The intent right now is to build, the goal is to build 6 houses within this area, so that area would be West 32nd Street, also known as Depot Road, south to Route 20, and then from Lake Avenue west to the state, I guess you would say the tracks. So the roads east and west of Station Avenue. That is kind of the target area that they've looked at. The land bank does own lots over in that area, which owning those lots obviously helps to keep the cost down for these homes.
Any questions or comments?
Mr. President?
Yes.
Not on that specific, but I do have some questions for the city manager. When you say it's okay.
Not about this item?
No.
Okay, thank you. And I do think that's a good, I think I shared with council, I just read a big report about the shortage of housing in the country, the whole country. And so this will certainly be a good addition and may help make a dent in our housing shortages.
Mr. President, is that just a shortage of housing or a shortage of affordable housing?
The article that I read in the Times talked about all housings, but it did sort of focus on affordable housing, you know, moderate prices and low price. It discussed all kinds of housing.
Mr. President, the housing study that was done, was conducted by the land bank a few years ago, maybe 2 years ago, identified the need for housing in all income sectors in the Ashtabula County.
Yeah, that's what this Times article, they talked about Michigan and California, it was all over the place. It's interesting. All in favor of adding this to our agenda?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We will add it to our agenda by a 7-0 vote.
Even though we had a holiday on Monday, garbage pickup is still on time, so it's on your regular scheduled date. Since we are pretty much done going through the areas from the storm damage, we will allow leaf bag drop-off again down at Public Works. Again, please, it's the bags, not all the limbs and everything else that you see down there. If you have limbs, as we've always said, just call the office and we'll make arrangements to pick those up. Excuse me. Starting the week of September 23rd, we will start curbside pickup again as we get into the fall season. So September 23rd, we are in the Harbor District, and then after that, we'll be in the wards and alternating those every week until sometime in November.
Thank you, Mr. Timonir.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I have a question. Is our garbage truck, are all of our garbage trucks up and running again?
I believe they are this week, yes. Yes, we had two of them that were down last week. Yes.
Mr. Manager, there was I don't know if you want to call it like a pothole, like a dip on East 42nd, like across from 1937. Well, I was gonna report it, and I see they filled it in, except for when I drove by again. That's like on the south side. Now it's like on the other side, the north side. It's running, let's see, the one is running north and south. It's running east and west, and it's right by a manhole, and it's just this big crevice, like a crater coming, and I thought, I don't know if there's,
What's the address again?
it's across from 1937, sort of when you're going into.
East 42nd?
Yeah,
Okay.
when you're going into the old State Road School, just past that, but now there's a dip there and there's the manhole, and I thought, there's maybe something going on underneath there.
While we're on the, if you could, Mr. Timmerman, if you could check on 9th Street, I don't have the address, it's the second house past Pennsylvania. There's been garbage sitting in the front yard for like weeks, and I don't know if, do you know where I'm at? It's a blue house on,
I think I know which one you're talking
yeah,
about.
just on the, I
think we're
don't know if
addressing
they
that
started
one.
to remodel or something and stopped or whatever, but it's been sitting there for quite a long while.
Mr. President, there was 2 people at the meeting last week complaining about the mudslide. And I'm assuming you guys all got the email today.
Yeah.
According to what she sent me, you all did. Were we gonna be able to do anything about that?
So we, before the last meeting, we had already put a stop work order on the project. They have since then installed the fencing and the necessary components for the stormwater management. But right now, we do have a stop work order on the project.
Did that work, that stuff? Because those pictures, are pretty graphic.
I haven't seen the ones you're talking about. When was this email?
Today.
Today.
Oh, I didn't get an email today.
I'll share it with
I know
you
that
after.
I think it was last week, they had gone out and cleaned up a lot of the debris that had gotten into the road. The company did that. That was last week, sometime early last week.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I did want to thank you because my constituent thanked me via email for McKinley Avenue. Thank you for fixing the potholes.
We've had to wait a little while. Unfortunately, the plants have not been making hot mix, and the times that they have been making hot mix, it was for larger projects, so we weren't able to get our ration of it. But we were able to get out today and have them do a lot of, they worked all day today.
I think you made lots of people happy.
So.
Mr. Manager, can you ever put any of that on brick?
You can, but it doesn't hold up very well.
So I'm wondering, West 44th, when you're like from Station to Prospect there, when you're coming
In
up
that back
the
area,
circle there,
yeah. Mhm.
it's, I was just back there, and it's growing grass, and I don't know, the way that the divots and,
Old Brick Road.
I know. So that would have to be the whole thing replaced, right?
Depends. Typically, that's what you do, but you could go in sections, remove brick, see what's going on underneath it, and try to build it back up, but it's expensive and time-consuming to do that.
You know, when it does rain, I mean, it gets really deep. You have to be going a negative whatever, because you're gonna, I mean, it's, I don't know. It's just really, I want that road done.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Ms. Cooper?
I have no report from the Solicitor's Office, Mr. President, but I would, at the behest of one of my employees, join council in thanking the city manager for filling in some potholes in the city recently. Their ride to work has been much more enjoyable, and they're very grateful.
Very good. Thank you.
Mr. President, so I would just say that's a compliment to the guys at Public Works, and I know, we don't have a large staff down there. We haven't hired additional people, unlike other departments, in a long, long time. I'm going to try to change that in the next year's budget, so I hope council will go along with that, but, the guys, when they get the opportunity and when we have the material, they do get out there and get it done.
Mr. Manager, that being said, Mr. San Angelo's new position, is that union?
It is not.
It is not? But the position you had was, correct? So how does that get filled? You just bump somebody up as seniority or
The
how?
job is posted, and yeah, it'll funnel all the way through all the departments. Yep.
Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Augustine, do you have anything for us this evening?
Yes, Mr. President, we're asking additional funding to State Highway Fund, auto license tax fund, motor vehicle license fund, in the amount of $170,000 to cover expenses through December. These appropriations, they will be drawn from the unappropriated fund balance.
Thank you. Any questions? All in favor of adding that to our agenda?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We will add it to our agenda by a 7-0 vote. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Bell, do you have anything for us this evening?
I do not, Mr. President.
Thank you, Ms. Bell. So we will go right on to our committee reports. We will start with our Community Development and Economic Development report.
All right. So right off the bat, we made a motion to add Blake Hinkle to the Parks Board. And I guess I need a motion here that we will do that.
There's a motion made to add Blake Hinkle to the Park Board. I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Mr. Hinkle will join our Parks Board by a 7-0 vote.
And the next Parks Board meeting is September 10th at 4:30, and that's here.
Mr. Hinkle is with us tonight. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate the opportunity.
I just want to add that I was very impressed because he came in person to our meeting to introduce himself, and that was just very impressive.
Thank you, Mr. Giacomo.
He's already working on movie nights and events in the park, so he's already been involved, so this would be a good avenue for him. So.
Okay, so we did have a special guest presentation. Zach Sheeler, who is the Research Director of Policy Matters Ohio, provided perspective on tax abatement policy. He stated Policy Matters Ohio is a nonprofit, nonpartisan research institute. Their offices are in Cleveland and Columbus, Ohio. Before tax abatements are given, are they necessary? To make tax abatements more accountable, adopt the but-for policy. And what that means is, would that development take place but for a tax abatement incentive? Whoever is seeking the incentive should provide some backing as to why the incentive should be granted. Resources may be scarce in the community. Make sure each abatement is analyzed. The city is not dependent on property tax, yet the city grants the abatement. Cities are dependent on income taxes. City schools typically receive 60% of property taxes. Another concern may be fairness to other taxpayers who are not receiving a tax abatement. Tax abatements originated at the state level aimed at promoting development in distressed areas. Consider the size and length of the abatement. Develop abatement standards for different areas of the city. Take note of the demographics receiving tax abatements. Ward 3 Councilor Ms. Holman stated that the presentation provided different aspects of how tax abatement may be examined. The presentation also provided aspects of social justice issues and equity issues. Addison Goodell, a member of the Planning Commission, agrees that there should be requirements to receive tax abatements. The city manager stated that tax abatement is for the property. The asset goes into the property and will eventually be taxed with property taxes. Developers do not make money on tax abatements. The incentive is given to the owner of the property. The city has not experienced development in quite some time. The city needs houses at every level. City manager's report. The city manager stated that the all-inclusion playground at Walnut Beach is on schedule. Several contractors are willing to donate groundwork. The city is responsible for the walkway. The grant for the playground will fund the surface and the playground equipment. The asphalt has been laid for 2 courts at Smith Field. After the asphalt is finished, fencing will go around the courts. The walkways have been paved at Smith Field. The remediation cleanup at the Carlisle building is complete. The city's meeting with Eastgate regarding the Appalachian grant after Labor Day. Is that scheduled?
Mr. President, Mr. Giacomo, it's not scheduled yet, but we have had outreach from Eastgate with some information given, and we will be meeting with them shortly. But that is not
I
scheduled
get
yet.
asked about that every single day.
So do I.
And our next meeting is going to be September 24th at 5 o'clock. Mary Church is going to be one of our guests, and she's going to be explaining what is going on in the housing world, along with Billy Williams from Goodwill, who will highlight their program.
Thank you, Ms. Haynes. Mrs. DiGiacomo.
That's
I'm
okay.
sorry, Mrs. Haynes.
Sometimes I forget my name,
Yeah,
too.
sorry about that. Finance and Personnel,
Our next meeting is Friday, September 20th at 8:30 a.m. here in the building.
Public Works,
Yes, we had our meeting on Tuesday, August 27th, here in council chambers, and we did have a guest presentation. Mr. Chris Tolner presented the City of Ashtabula, the capital improvement plan. The service area includes our city, Saybrook Township, and also Ashtabula Township. The City of Ashtabula is responsible for updating the sewer collection system. The capital improvement plan includes the following: wastewater treatment plant improvements, ventilations for the grit building, ventilation for the blower building, replacement, emergency exit signs, lighting, digester, gas handling improvements. Many of the systems exceeded their design life and must be upgraded. The upgrades will improve the plant's operation. Upgrades also include outfall improvements. The current outfall system was installed in 1925. The generator must be updated, obsolete piping and equipment must be removed, and some pumps must be replaced throughout the plant. There are 9 pump stations in our city that must be constantly monitored. The EPA also stated several of our SSOs, the sanitary sewer overflows, must be eliminated. So a rate study was completed. This was quite a lengthy process done by GPD to address how the improvements must be accomplished. The current revenue does not meet the current operations, nor maintenance expenses and debt service. The City of Ashtabula's sewer rate is the lowest also compared to surrounding communities. The city manager stated that regarding notifying residents about the rate increases, the presentation is available to watch on our city's website and also the city's Facebook page. When the legislation is passed to the council, we talked about having 2 readings. So hopefully the first reading would be maybe at our next meeting, hoping for that. So it's looking like the goal would be for the increases to start after the first of the year. The city must also put together different structures they're working on for flooding that occurs during heavy rain. The wastewater treatment plant is only funded by rates, so it is an enterprise fund. So hence, looking at the study for the rate increases. So the city manager's report, we talked about the asphalt on Lake Avenue, ODOT paving, almost finished. We talked about the Lake Avenue near the hospital, and that looking into a different turning lane. So are we doing that? something different on?
So the portion of Lake Avenue that would be in front of the plaza for ARMC, we intend to install a center turning lane there instead of just having a double yellow down the middle. Now that they have identified certain areas where you can turn into the plaza, we think that'll make for a little bit cleaner area out there. The lanes themselves, as you approach the lights, won't change, but there will be that center turning lane going down on that end of it.
I think it's getting busier in there. There's more things with the dental, and I think that'll be good. So as long as you're doing the striping and stuff now, that'll be nice. Water pollution control report. Mr. Verzella provided the report. We did vote on the increase for sodium aluminate, and that is used to remove the phosphate. Matt Copeland was awarded the maintenance mechanic position. Mr. Seymour's awarded the swing shift operator. The assistant superintendent position was posted. We voted on that tonight. The department is working with GPD for relocating the efforts for the outfall. They're also working with the Household Hazardous Waste Recycling Day, which is coming up September 28th, hosted by the Ashtabula County. And I'm not sure, is there something somewhere posted, hours and what they can drop off? I know there's some things about paint and there's only certain kinds. Mr. Manager, do you have any information on that?
I don't. That's a county program, but we'll eventually, as we get closer to the date, share whatever they put out.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Because I know there's certain paints, because I know everybody wants to get rid of paint, and there's only certain ones that you can, and so if we can get you more information on that. Public Works, Mr. Melnick provided an update. They're continuing with mowing, patching, catch basin repairs, utility hole repairs, still picking up debris from the storm. They have a contract with Bropes Tree and Stump, so currently they have 20-plus trees that have to come down. And our jet vac is still out for repair, and I believe we're waiting on parts from Italy. Still?
That's what we're being told. Maybe if somebody's going on vacation there, you can stick it in your luggage and bring it back.
I know. So we're still using other adjoining municipalities if we need that. So that is a deficit without having that. The road sweeper is back in use. 2 seasonal workers were hired full-time by the department. There's a vacant position. Some old business, we're still working with the assistant solicitor, Mrs. Catherine Colgan, on updating ordinances for committees, so that's just ongoing. We thank her for doing that, a lot of work into that. So our next meeting is going to be Tuesday, September 24th, here at 8:30 a.m. Currently, we don't have a guest, and that was that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Mills.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I've sat through this sewer presentation twice now. And it was made pretty clear to me that we're going to be spending 9 figures on this project. At least that's what the presentation stated. Now, that's an absurd amount of money. Nevertheless, we have to do it. However, I would like to know if there's any possible way that we could draft any kind of ordinance. I want our local contract, we're spending $100 million. I want local contractors and local labor on as much as this project as possible. We need to keep as much as that $100 million in town as possible. And we have to give the local people some kind of extra incentive or extra help. I think that we need to do it. Because I don't want to be driving down these streets and seeing trucks from Akron, Youngstown, Berea. I want to see trucks that have a 44004 area code on them. And I think I'll get support to pass any such ordinance if it's even possible. But I think we need to look into that because we're spending an awful lot of money that I don't really want to be going south. I want it to stay north, right here on the lake's edge.
Mr. President?
Yes.
Mr. Guerrero, that's something that we always strive for. Unfortunately, the way the bidding process and the rules that we have to uphold to as far as bidding for a municipality, we can't just assign it to a local contractor. I guess the only other thing to realize in this project, it won't be, here's a $100 million project and everything's at once. This will be broken out over several years, probably over 5 to 10 years, and they will be in project increments. It won't be.
I understand that. I want our local contractors to be given the utmost courtesy in getting these bids because we need our people working, and that's a big project.
Very much agree with that, and I wish there was a way that we could do, I don't know, extra points or whatever you want to call it.
Well, Mrs. Solicitor, can we look into that? Can we, is that possible? I mean,
Over the years, but.
I do not believe it is possible, no, but I am sending an email right now to Ms. Colgan to ask her to look into it.
thank you.
Mr. Manager?
Yes.
Aren't some of the things on this project pretty intricate, specific, that there may only be certain?
It's possible. I mean, depending on the types of equipment that we're replacing, they could be, single source items that only come from XYZ place. When you talk about drilling underneath the river, not many local companies that can drill underneath the Ashtabula River.
Right.
But again,
There are some basic
there are
things,
some other stuff that
but
we'll
some
have done
intricate.
that anybody can bid on, yeah.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, you look at like our paving project this summer, it went to an out-of-town company because it was quite a bit of savings by going with the out-of-town company. Certainly I agree with Mr. Guerrero. It'd be great if local people could do this, but at the same time, we have a responsibility to be judicious with our funds and get the most bang for our bucks, and, so to speak. But I hear you, Mr. Guerrero, and I agree. In an ideal world, that would be great.
Mr. President?
Yes.
I too want to thank Councilor Guerrero for bringing up that issue. And while I understand that there may be companies that have, higher levels of knowledge or skill or expertise to meet our needs, while I get that, I still wonder if we can at least ask for some of the roles that our residents could fill, that we ask that they look to our city residents for either part-time or full-time for some of the work that needs to be done.
Certain. Thank you. Continuing our committee reports, there was no planning commission. It would be September, the third Thursday in September. The Historic Preservation Committee, I think that is coming up this week. I'm sorry for not having the days in front of me. And then the ad hoc committee is they meet and then report back at times. Okay, and finally, before we go on to our legislation, we had quite a few requests for resolutions lately. We are voting on one tonight for the Reverend David Howard, and that we have already presented that, and we appreciate Ms. Holman. Thank you for doing that for council. We appreciate you attending that and presenting that resolution too. On the 16th, we will have 3 resolutions to pass out.
Mr. President?
Yes.
Can I just also want to say thank you to each of the counselors and administrators who took the time to come out and sign that in time. So thank you all for making the effort to do that.
Thank you. And we also have some other resolutions that we'll be giving out. If I can at this time, there would be a resolution to the Goodwill. So maybe if Ms. Haynes, and these are just suggestions, I always like to have 2 people. I think it's good to have council involved. So if Ms. Haynes and Mr. Guerrero, because that's your ward, if you'd be willing to do that, that would be good.
Mrs. DiGiacomo would love
Yeah,
to do
uh,
that.
You know what, I even typed
I know. Thank you. I've done that like 2 or 3 times tonight. Yeah. We are giving a resolution to Mrs. Spillman for her years of service to the community. So maybe if Mr. Simeone, who requests, and Miss Mills, that's your ward, if you would. Well, you won't be here that night, will you? No.
No, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Ms. Holman, would you work with Mr. Holman or with Mr. Simeone in presenting that?
Sure.
Thank you. And then we're giving a resolution to Lakeway, so Mrs. Foglio, if you don't mind, I will join you in presenting that resolution to do that. So we will plan on that next week, Ms. Bell, and you'll notify them and they'll be here for us and we'll have all that set. Okay, thank you. We will move on to the legislative part of our agenda. If anyone in the audience would like to speak to any of these items, we're disposing of firearms that have been forfeited to the police. We're going to purchase a bulletproof vest, some sodium aluminate, a contract with GDP Group. We're going to hire Carl St. Angelo as the assistant superintendent. We're going to repeal ordinance 202491. We are going to authorize compensations to the health department, the reconstruction of Ferry Drive, an ordinance to supplemental increases in various funds, a resolution honoring Superintendent David Howard Jr., and an ordinance to enter an agreement with the Ashtabula County Land Utilization Corporation. Those are our ordinances tonight. Does anybody have an account or anyone in the audience would like to address any one of these items?
Yes, Addison Goodell on the Planning Commission. And I actually hadn't planned to address anything tonight, but ordinance number 24-115 with the land bank, it actually brings up exactly what I was talking about at the last council meeting. If they're going to, the land bank's going to take this property and subdivide it again, I believe our ordinances say then that that subdivision needs to go through the Planning Commission and through City Council. So I guess I'm just asking, I'd like to see us following the procedures that are in our ordinances. Please don't misconstrue this as me being against this. I think these are all great plans. But what that process does, it brings these subdivisions into the public realm. It lets people come to the Planning Commission meeting and comment if they want. It informs all the City Council. You get a chance to look at these plats, say, oh, I understand what's going on in my ward right now, in the city right now, and you more than likely are going to agree with it. The engineers will have reviewed it, but that's the process we have in the city, and it doesn't appear to me like that we have been following those ordinances in the past. And so that's why I brought it up at the last meeting. That's why I mentioned it again today, because it seems that this particular property, and there's others out there. We know the land bank has the property on Lake Avenue where the church used to be, and there may be some others. But so it's just an appeal to follow the ordinances as we have them, even though maybe we haven't in the past for what reasons, or if we don't need to, then please, they should explain to the City Council and the Planning Commission why we don't need to do that in this situation. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. President. Anyone else who would like to address council at this time on any of these ordinances?
Mr. President,
Yes.
can I say something?
Yeah, go right ahead.
I just want to give kudos to APD. We're forfeiting guns. Tonight, there's 86 of them that we have taken off the streets of Ashtabula. So I think that's very good. So thank you so much.
Yeah, I was going to ask about what's a Glock with a Mary Geo night sight? Amerigo? Oh, Ameriglow.
It glows in the dark.
And what's a Glock? Like, I have no
It's
idea.
a manufacturer.
Oh, it's a type of pistol?
It's a brand of gun.
Oh, brand, and it glows in the dark?
Could I say one thing?
Yeah, I just read that list.
I appreciate you mentioning the police department doing this. This is Lieutenant Parkamaki. This was all his idea. He's been doing this for the last couple of years. We've been able to get a lot of really good equipment by forfeiting these firearms that we have no use for. We're able to sell them to licensed dealers and then turn that around and buy actual police equipment that we can use. And it was his idea, and he should get credit for it, so, all right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank Mr. Parkamaki for us.
Yes.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I have questions. First of all, thank you, Mr. Goodell, for bringing this issue up. I often wonder, when you make comments saying, why aren't we following our ordinances? What are we going to do about it? And so I just don't want us to listen and acknowledge and then continue business as usual. So my wondering is, what is it that we do next to bring up, to actually deal with the issue? Because it's been a couple months now, I think. And
Yes.
we've had cases that really call for us to.
Well, I don't, and, you know, I hear Chip and I hear Mr. Goodell, and I appreciate that, but I don't, in this case, I don't think this is, I think these are I think 2 houses are gonna be next to each other, and I think the other 4 are gonna be on separate lots. Am I wrong on that, Mr. Timoney? They're not all on.
No, you're not. Yeah, these aren't creating subdivisions. These
Yeah,
are,
it's just-
these are properties that had existing homes that they're gonna be
that are
building
empty,
homes
yeah,
on.
so I don't know if that's technically.
I was going by the city manager's comments in the pre-council meeting where he said they were going to take lots, combine them, re-subdivide to get variances for the frontage,
Oh, I see.
which all that is covered, and you mentioned the administrative board, but I believe when you're replatting, our ordinances say that those variances go through the planning commission and city council. That's why I brought that up.
All right, thank you, Mr. Goodell. And I do know that we, and council is in the process, but working with the manager to update all our zoning ordinances and all our other ordinances. I know Ms. Colgan is working on quite a few. And so I think as these things come to council, then we will address them at that time. But I don't know at this time, I think what we're operating now is on past practice, the way it has been done, which has been accepted for the last so many years. And that's why we see a desire to update our ordinances and our zoning and so forth. So I think that's where we're at now.
So are you saying we'll continue to do business as usual until they've been revised, or?
I would imagine we will,
Until they're revised, what's the problem with us following what's currently in place? Until they're revised.
oh, I would imagine that, you know, Ms. Holman, I imagine that would, I think that could affect a whole variety of things if we, you know, we may be at a standstill on a lot of different things if we decide that we're only gonna do with, I guess, which is technical, as opposed to doing what has been done and which has been accepted as practice.
You have a problem doing it on Fifth Street,
What is that?
going with the technical and
Well, that's not even in comparison with this, I don't think, of this issue. But thank you. Okay. Okay.
Mr. President, I think until Mr. Goodell brought the problem to us, we didn't realize it was happening. So unless we know, it's impossible for us to know everything, but when you know something like that's going on, now we should follow the practice. Now that we know it's been done and that's a problem, then we should address it.
We address it, and we'll address it by,
Mr. President, as I said at the last meeting, as Mr. Goodell was told in private meetings and in public meetings, the solicitor's office is looking into it along with our departments to figure out the next steps. Personally, if you knew all the times that people have bought side lots and just combined them, if you want all of that running for 3 months through committees, I think that's a ridiculous waste of time. We've done that where people have wanted to build a garage and, you know, just had to combine a lot because you can't build over properties. Now, in creating subdivisions like Ashbrook, Deerfield, Moretti Estates, certainly can see how creating a subdivision, putting in a roadway is one thing. But lots that have existed with homes on them throughout the city and people are just moving property lines to go through potentially 3 months of meetings to move a line 5 or 6 feet, which is traditionally what happens when we do lot splits or lot combinations, I think is a ridiculous waste of time.
Mr. President, Mr. Manager, who okays that? Like, say I want to
So
move
our
my-
engineering or our Department of Planning and Community Development looks at the plots. And a lot of times, as I just mentioned, we look at this, the frontage that's needed, if there needs to be a variance, if there needs to be something like that. But 90% of the time, it's an owner coming to us and saying, hey, I'd like to combine these lots, so I don't have two different lots, two different tax bills. You know, I can put other structures. You can't build like a garage on a separate parcel that doesn't have a house on it. So those are typically the requests that we get.
And that just comes through Housing Department and
Comes through the planning, yes, an application is submitted.
to the planning, to your committee, or just?
No, it comes through the Planning and Community Development
Okay,
Department.
okay.
Typically, they're done up by a surveyor
Right.
with all the
It has to be
language and everything, and then
Okay.
we look at those.
The ordinances I'm talking about are strictly for subdividing. It's not for combining properties, but once a property has been combined into one and then to be re-subdivided, the ordinance addresses that. Good examples would be the Harbor High School property, the Winterfield property, all the properties on Bridge Street, the townhouses, those were all re-subdivided at one point. So, believe me, I'm not against any of this. I'm just saying, you put me on the committee, I read the ordinances, this is what I see. I don't think we've been following it. That's my only thing. No, we're not trying to pick, minor 5-foot add to the line. That's not what this is about. It's keeping citizens informed of the big, the big pictures here. When we're taking lots and dividing them into 10 or 12 houses, I think that should go through the process. I think that certainly when you combine any pieces of property and then re-subdivide them, the citizens should be informed, and that's the purpose of our committee, that's the purpose of the city council.
Yes.
Mr. President, I just have a personal curiosity question, I guess, for council. So you've got somebody who buys a set of property, and they decide they want to turn it into condominiums or townhouses, and so it needs to be resurveyed. You're going to take that person and tell them they can't do what they want with their property that they've paid for?
And that's just,
I don't think that's the question. I mean,
Well,
that's
but I
your
mean,
question.
That's the end line. So a developer buys the property at the harbor, where the harbor school was, and they want to turn it into several houses. So they want to subdivide it into several different houses. And now they have to come in front of city council, and city council says, no, you can't do that. Well, now they've invested in this property, they've purchased it, and city council is telling them they can't do that with their own property. I mean, I get there are housing rules and zoning rules, and those all have to be abided by, but as long as the zoning rules are being abided by, I guess I'm thinking worst case scenario. What happens then when we tell a property owner they can't do what they wanted to do with the property they've paid good money for?
People stop moving here.
well, my only point was, a lot of this is out of the realm of, I wouldn't know, I appreciate what Mr. Goodell is saying, I appreciate the questions. I don't know, as counselors, we're qualified to draw these things up and to organize these things and so forth. So that's, as counselors, we rely on our solicitor and our manager, our housing department, and they come and tell us what needs to be done if, and we check, and we have in the last couple of years noticed things that we say, hey, we gotta rezone, or we gotta do some looking at our ordinances, and we gotta look at some of our zoning and so forth. So we're not going to the planning commission so that Arby's could lose one parking spot, Is that necessary? Probably not. So we know all these things need to be updated, and that'll be brought to us by the people who do this, I think, for a living. And then we will act accordingly to them. And I know, like the Harbor High School property, I remember seeing that. I know one counselor didn't appreciate it at the time, but we have seen those things. I remember seeing the Winterfield situation. Now, do I know enough to measure the lot sizes, and so I don't. And as a counselor, I don't think I'm supposed to, But so that is something we're gonna give attention to, and we are gonna work on, but I don't think it's something that we change overnight. And we're gonna need help to do. That's just, I think. Okay. All right, anything else? Ms. Bell, will you read us tonight's legislation?
Ordinance number 2024-104, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to dispose of certain firearms which have been forfeited to the city police by trade-in for credit against the purchase of new police weapons and equipment. Ordinance number 2024-105, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with Atwell's Police and Fire Equipment to purchase bulletproof vests and related equipment for the Ashtabula Police Department. Ordinance number 2024-106, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into change order number 1 for the purchase of sodium aluminate with Usalco for the city of Ashtabula for an additional $30,000. Ordinance number 2024-107, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with GPD Group of Akron, Ohio for the purpose of providing engineering, design, and construction administration for ATB-State Route 84 West 48th Street project. Ordinance number 2024-108, an ordinance acknowledging the hiring of Carl St. Angelo as Assistant Superintendent, Director of Pretreatment of the City of Ashtabula Wastewater Treatment Division. Ordinance number 2024-109, an ordinance repealing Ordinance 2024-91, an ordinance authorizing compensation, salaries, and wages to employees of the City of Ashtabula and the Ashtabula City Health District for the purpose of enacting replacement legislation. Ordinance number 2024-110, an ordinance authorizing compensation, salaries, and wages to employees of the City of Ashtabula, the Ashtabula City Health District. Ordinance number 2024-111, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with Koski Construction Company for the reconstruction of Ferry Drive. Ordinance number 2024-112, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into change order number 1 with Koski Construction Company for the reconstruction of Ferry Drive. Ordinance number 2024-113, an ordinance to make supplemental increases to appropriation in the State Highway Fund, Auto License Tax Fund, and Motor Vehicle License Fund for current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Ashtabula, State of Ohio, for the period of January 1st through December 31st, 2024. These appropriations will be drawn from unappropriated fund balance. Resolution number 2024-114, a resolution in honor of Superintendent David Howard Jr. Ordinance number 2024-115, an ordinance to authorize the city manager to enter into an agreement with Ashtabula County Land Reutilization Corporation to donate the real property located at 3820 Station Avenue.
Thank you, Ms. Bell. Is it council's desire to handle these items in consent agenda format?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mrs. DeGiacomo moves, Ms. Holman seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We will do so by a 7-0 vote. Is there a motion to waive the council requirements of reading the legislation in its entirety?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Holman moves, Mr. Simeone seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We will waive the reading of the entirety by a 7-0 vote. Is there a motion to waive the charter requirements of 2 readings of the legislation?
So moved.
Second?
Motion by Mrs. Foglio, second by Mrs. Mills. Any discussion? Would you please call the roll, Ms. Bell?
Mrs. DeGiacomo?
Yes.
Mrs. Foglio?
Yes.
Mr. Guerrero?
Yes.
Mr. Simeone?
Yes.
Mr. Roskovich?
Yes.
Ms. Holman?
Yes.
Mrs. Mills?
Yes.
We will waive the charter requirements of 2 readings by a 7-0 vote. We will now vote on passage of the legislation. Would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Foglio?
Yes.
Mr. Guerrero?
Yes.
Mr. Simeone?
Yes.
Mr. Roskovich?
Yes.
Ms. Holman?
Yes.
Mrs. Mills?
Yes.
Mrs. DeGiacomo?
Yes.
All items in tonight's legislation have passed by a 7-0 vote. Is there anything else, council comments? Mr. St. Angelo, would you like to say anything for council?
Thanks for the opportunity.
Oh, okay, well, I appreciate it. Usually you give a 5-10 minute. All right.
I'll give you an update in a few months.
Okay, yeah, you'll be back. Well, thank you, Mr. St. Angelo. We wish you well. Okay. Is there any unfinished business for council?
Would trick or treat fall under that?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. All right. Trick or treat is going to be November 2nd from 5 to 7.
November 2nd, 5 to 7. That's all.
And Mrs. DiGiacomo, why is that after Halloween?
Because it falls on a Thursday, and so it falls to the closest Saturday.
Okay, thank you.
And I think the candy might be on sale. Maybe they'll put the candy on sale. All right, any new business? Does anyone have something tell us something we don't know?
I do.
Go right ahead, please.
Okay, Mr. President, so I'm working on the HALO committee, so that's Holiday Angels Loving Others, a Catholic Charities program. So their annual Christmas program is going to be on Saturday. It's November 9th at Mount Carmel. But most importantly, the applications are going to start for those that want to apply, and this is for individuals and families to help those in need with food and gifts at the holidays. It will start October 1st at midnight and run until November 22nd. So that's important because it just seems like it goes really quick, but then it provides a fantastic holiday. I mean, I know it's still summertime out there, but it'll be October 1st pretty soon. We're into September, so good information.
Thank you, Mrs. Mills. And HALO is a wonderful event, yes.
Mr. President?
Yes.
I just want to say this weekend, my husband and I decided on Sunday that we were just going to do a Bridge Street type thing since we haven't been down there so much in the summer. But I cannot believe how many people were on Bridge Street eating in the restaurants, shopping in the stores, going to see the hotel. It was just, and I didn't know any of them, so I know they were from out of town. So, but it's just so refreshing to see our harbor area being used so much.
Yeah, there are a lot of people down there anymore. Does anybody else have anything they'd like to add? No? Thank you, everyone. At this time, we will hear from the public. If anyone from the public would like to address council, just approach the podium and share with us your name and address, and we'd be happy to hear from you.
Hi, my name is Paige Chevron. I live over on 1211 Columbus Ave. I'm in one of the apartments over there. This is probably going to be right up Jane's alley. I did have a complaint about the homeless, especially something that happened to me today. I got it written down because I'm bad with memory. I've lived here as long as I can remember. A majority of the topic is going to be about the homeless epidemic. Where is it? So I took the Indian trails down sorry, I'm really nervous. It's my first time here. I took the trails down by East 51st, looped down with my little dog. His name's Grim. He's, yay high. We crossed the river. We came up, and I was trying to hit the trailhead where you drop down by East 45th Street. I don't know if any of you guys have been down there or seen that, but there's about 4 or 5 tents down there right at the bottom of the trail. They're blocking your way out of the trail or into the trail. They also have loose dogs down there. Ran up to my dog. Now, that's going to be an incident at some point. If that runs up on a horse, it runs up on someone else's pet, someone has to defend their pet, then it's going to get really messy down there. So I just feel like it's sad that, when I was a teenager, we'd walk, we'd play down there, and now everyone I know, they don't want to send their kids down there because of the homeless and the needles and the glass. And it's really sad to see the city becoming like that. So that's just my main thing for this.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Anyone else would like to comment or say anything? No one in the audience? All right, seeing no one, our next meeting will be Monday. We'll be back on Monday, September 16th at 6:30. So everybody have a good couple of weeks and be safe. Thank you. The meeting is adjourned.
Excuse me, would you say your name?